Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. Big time bull day out there. QQQ finally getting big time bounce follow through. And the setup was a short squeeze in the sense that the majority of the move initiated in extended hours after an extremely bearish day yesterday. So bears go into the close with a lot of confidence yesterday. Overnight, we go up 2%, and then the bulls just continue to squeeze from there throughout the rest of the day. We'll talk about that setup and how the shorter term bears were put in trouble very quickly. And we'll also look at a checklist of step-by-step what we're looking for from here on different time frames as far as the most likely scenarios. Before we get into the technical analysis, we have uploaded an intro to technical analysis course on our YouTube page. For many of you, it's very elementary. Many of you have already watched it. But if you can click the link that I'm going to link in the comments of this video and give it a thumbs up, a view, and a comment to try and get those YouTube algos working, we can help other people who have not come across this content yet, and it is helpful for beginners. So SPY, we know SPY has been stronger than QQQ. We know SPY has not had any major red flags because the financial sector and energy sector and our laggards have been holding on just fine. Again, it's not money leaving the market. We're not seeing everything dump at once. We're seeing rotation going on, which means the broader market bulls are content with what's going on. We had more bounce follow through. At one point today, we were about 1.5% from the all-time high. The weekly time frame is still looking for a higher low, is still holding EMA 12, and is still within striking distance of the all-time high. All that being said, we have not changed the daily trend yet. So whenever this bounce tops out, we will have to hold the low, which has plenty of space, and we will then have to confirm the trend change back to the bulls on the daily to be looking right back at the all-time high. We don't have to change the daily trend before looking to the all-time high, but we know we will have to eventually if we're going to believe that the bulls can have follow-through in that new all-time high area, if we get there. So the bounce on QQQ, very significant. Not my ideal setup. My biggest profitable days, I should say, as a day trader are when we see oversold conditions. We start with a gap down open, we flush in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes. We get as extreme as possible. I load the boat and we just V-shape. And the Canadian MJ sector used to do that all the time. And that is my ideal setup for the most profitable day that I can have as a trader. We didn't get that. So today was a green day, and I'll talk about some things that I did, but otherwise not ideal, and that's okay. Wait for the ideal days to go aggressive, and when it's not ideal days, just go normal sizes. So what this shows me is a gap, or not a gap up open, a higher open, but look at the candle yesterday. All bears right back down to the lows. And when you open 2% higher, like QQQ did today, you are instantly putting 90%, that's an estimate, rough number, 90% of anybody that went short yesterday or even the day before is red, underwater. And then if you open higher and then just go up all morning, you're just constantly putting pressure on shorts. So again, we headed into yesterday with shorts extremely confident, and then today just completely caught them by surprise, and it was a bit of a bear trap and a short squeeze. So let's now lay out. I'm going to break down the checklist of what needs to happen from here. So we're looking at QQQ with a lack of hourly consolidation today. It started right into the close. So we're seeing two scenarios tomorrow, a higher open or a lower open. If it's a lower open, we look for an hourly higher low, anything above the low of yesterday. If it is a higher open, this low is a key support level in the short term, 311.37, and we watch to see can the bulls maintain the hourly uptrend. We know we're looking for daily lower highs, and I'm talking about QQQ and the Biden names, EV, Solar, MJ. Most names are looking for daily lower highs. The indication that daily lower highs have been set is usually a loss of the hourly uptrend. Obviously, nothing is absolute, but for the majority of the time, when you lose the hourly uptrend, the odds that your daily lower high has been set will increase. So in the short term, we're looking for daily lower highs. If we gap up tomorrow, I'm looking bearish, and I'm looking for daily lower highs to potentially be set. If we open lower, I'm looking bullish, and I'm looking for hourly higher lows to be set. We had huge bounces in Tesla and NIO and these EV names that were up 15, 20% today. If we gap up open, I'm scouting bearish. If we open lower, I'm watching for an hourly higher low with tons of space for it to form. So that's my game plan heading into tomorrow. Aside from that bigger picture, we know we need daily trend changes if we're going to say bulls are back in control. Because we've seen big bounces twice now and a lack of follow through. And one of those big bounces was a similar short trap. The difference is this time around, the size of the bounce is more significant. We would have to drop 5% from here to hit a lower low. And previously, it was 4%. Not a huge difference, but a 20% difference. So, if we lose the hourly uptrend, from here, in my opinion, it would look like this. We pull back on QQQ into tomorrow. It's a significant enough pullback to anticipate an hourly lower high is the most likely scenario. We then lose the hourly uptrend, which indicates daily consolidation is then likely underway. We must change the daily trends. Patient bulls that are not in positions are patiently waiting for daily higher lows. And we were looking for the same thing on Bitcoin over the last week, put out videos talking about it. We hit the low of consolidation. We went up almost $10,000 straight from the low. And I did not have a position during that time, but I patiently waited and entered on consolidation because we know we have to change the daily trend. So bulls patiently wait and they enter on the daily higher low. We confirm the trend change and it's a good entry. That's what bulls are looking for, whether it's EV, any name that's bounced significantly. Bulls that are not in at this point are waiting patiently for daily higher lows. The size of the bounce and the size of the pullback help determine our probabilities. Let's say the top of the bounce has been set. We obviously don't know that, but if it were set, the size of the pullback matters. And I talk about retracements. I just do it visually from looking at charts for over a decade, tens of thousands of millions of charts. But if you are newer, use the fib retracement tool. We hit a low, we hit a high of the bounce. Again, if we're just assuming that that's our top. When daily consolidation gets going, if we pull back and set a daily higher low at the 0.382 retracement or less, it favors the trend change and continuation. If we pull back 50% or more of the bounce, it favors a tightening daily range. And it's less likely that we're going to change the trend in a straight shot from there. And obviously, the more you pull back, the higher the odds that we drop to lower lows. Volume and retracement size give us lots of information. So again, just going to SPY real quick, one more example. If the SPY bounce top is in, the size of the retracement gives us most probable scenarios. If our top is set at 390, the high of today, and we pull back and hold 383, daily trend change is favorable. If we pull back and drop to the 50% retracement or more, a tightening daily range is then more favorable. So we get information all the time. Size of the bounce gives us information. How much space do we have for the bulls to create a daily higher low from here? Size of the retracement gives us information. Can we change the trend from here? Is that the most likely scenario? Or is a tightening range the most likely scenario? So that is what we're watching over the rest of this week. Watching for a top of the bounce to be set, which it certainly has not at this point. We're watching a loss of the hourly uptrend to indicate that the top of the bounce has likely been set. And then from there, we're watching for daily higher lows. And where those daily higher lows shape up will indicate if it's more probable that we drop to lower lows, that we see tightening ranges, or that we confirm daily trend changes. IWM. Big time bounce. Tons of space for the daily higher low. Size of the pullback matters. If we pull back to 218, daily trend change favorable. If we pull back to 216, tightening daily range becomes favorable. And if we pull back over 50% retracement, red flag for bulls. Daily trend change needed. Weekly uptrend still intact. EMA 12 support still intact. Financial sector pulled back today. I was watching very closely. for inverse correlation. I wanted to see, do we see profit taking in our laggard sectors rotate into tech names and the Biden names? And fortunately for the broader market, the answer was not really. Healthy daily consolidation, daily uptrend, higher low, 3260, still easily holding. No red flags. If this daily uptrend remains intact and QQQ stops its free fall, SPY will be back at all-time highs in no time. One more note on QQQ. So the action today, again, with the less than ideal setup for me and my trading style, the one thing I did do in the first hour of trading was just manage the positions I already had. And it was very key for me, the first low of the day. So we open on QQQ and we're watching the high of yesterday. And we know if the high of yesterday does not break, then it's just a lower high and bulls don't prove anything. So we're watching for consolidation first thing. Do we see just a higher open and then profit taking all morning? So we pulled back and we set a low of the day. And that low of the day was 306.98. That level is now a very key level for me. We hit a new high of the day, still pushing up to the high of yesterday, which has not broken at that point in time because that high of yesterday was 310.06. So first things first, watching resistance of 310.06. If that level does not break, bulls aren't proving anything. As soon as I saw this take shape, low of the day, 306.98, high of the day, still under high of yesterday, there's the bears trying to reject from the high of yesterday. They failed. We double bottomed. We broke the low of the day by 6 pennies with zero follow through. As soon as you hit a new high of the day there, that to me tells me we are likely to break the high of yesterday. If we were unlikely to break the high of yesterday, we would have gotten bear follow through there and it would have been a clear lower high. So as soon as we double bottom and broke 308.52, I instantly took off half of my short position, which instantly shifts my portfolio weighting significantly bullish. At that point in time, they were pretty balanced. And if I take off half my shorts, then I'm essentially 75% bull, 25% bear. So I didn't act other than that in the first hour of trading, but that one little move allowed for my portfolio to go up as opposed to just doing this because I'm bearish and bullish. From there, I did begin to scale back into some, and I re-entered a little bit more in the 310s after covering in the 308s. But at this point, I still have a bit less than I had yesterday. So I'm slightly bullish leaned now. We've got the metals bouncing, which we're going to look at. We've got USMJ bouncing, and we've got the S&P 500 bouncing. So I do still have some QQQ short exposure, and I'm going to keep that until the bulls change the daily trend. Have to prove it with a daily trend change for me to be back on only team bull. So that was notable, and I assumed that we were going to break the high of the day at that point, high of yesterday. So I could have waited another $1.50 plus and then covered, but as soon as that double bottom was hit and a new high of the day, I got real confident that the high of yesterday was going to be broken. From there, the trades that I took were just 5 higher lows and just little day trade flips. So NIO started the morning, 5-minute EMA 12 support, just looking for a higher low. I made an entry there. Definitely let it go a little bit too early, but I wanted to get off the computer. And then Tesla, I was looking at a 15-minute higher low off the EMA 12. Again, multiple time frames aligning. I know I'm looking for a 15-minute higher low. I know I'm looking at EMA 12 support, and the 2-minute was oversold. Here's your 2-minute waterfall into oversold conditions. I started scaling in on a break of 660, and it was nice to have multiple time frames aligning. 2-minute oversold, scouting a 15-minute higher low, 15-minute EMA 12, 2-minute waterfall drop. That's when I get confident. So I did have a couple little losses on some top fishing attempts, but overall, just a little green day. Nothing special, no home runs, and that's fine by me. Started March with 4 red days in a row, which completely broke my flow from the previous 4 months. But now we've got 3 green days in a row and trying to get back to that all-time high account. So IWM, we know the daily trend change is needed. XLF, daily uptrend still intact. XLV, close at the low of the day, but we also have a ton of space here as well. If the low of today breaks tomorrow, our daily top of the bounce is set, and we did break the daily lower high resistance of 114.61. So the bulls, on any pullback, we need a daily higher low compared to 109.93, and we can measure the retracement size to see, is a tightening daily range likely? Is a daily trend change likely? Information given to us on a minute-by-minute basis. Biotech sector, just looking for the daily lower high like QQQ. Anything under 152.28, loss of the hourly uptrend is an indication that the daily lower high has been set. Hourly higher low is 140.09 support. So if we start tomorrow, fail to break the high of today, and break 140.09, odds increase that the top of the bounce has been set. If we break the high of today, then obviously it has not, and we have more space for the trend change attempt. So bulls are having a sigh of relief on all these names that have a solid bounce today, but we're not in the clear until the daily trends change. Semiconductors, still weaker than tech, but trying to follow along. Weaker day yesterday, less bounce today, so certainly confident that a daily lower high compared to 248.68 is likely. Tan in the solar sector, same story. Very likely for a daily lower high compared to 107.25. Can we change the daily trend? It's the question for the rest of the week into next week. MSOS, bit of bounce follow through. Curaleaf had earnings after hours. We'll see how we react with the sector tomorrow. Bulls need more follow through if we're going to set up a potential daily trend change. Bulls need to make their way 47 and beyond to then be looking for a trend change to try and take place. And the VIX, still looking for a higher low compared to 2250. So that level in play tomorrow. If it holds, we'll watch for a daily lower high, anything under 31.90. The dollar consolidated, so temporary top set on the dollar. We'll see if it breaks the low of today tomorrow to start daily consolidation. But just like we're looking for lower highs in metals and EV and tech, we're looking for a daily higher low in the dollar. Plenty of space. Size of the retracement gives us clues. There's our high. If we pull back and hold 91.78, continuation is likely. If we drop down to the mid 91s, we start to then be looking for the potential of an equilibrium to be shaping up. In both scenarios, we're looking for a daily higher low. Not all daily higher lows are created equal. Gold was another clue. Gold and silver this morning, coming to the computer at 6, 7 a.m. and seeing this bounce, which at that point in time had us at 1710. And it looked like, okay, this is the most significant metals bounce that we've seen on all of these attempts. And that was a little bit of a bull clue as well. So that in itself is not enough to gain information, but just one little piece of the puzzle to be looking for bulls to get some follow through. Metals look like they've got a temporary bottom set. That being said, 4-hour trend change needed to prove it. Size of the pullback, retracement is going to tell us whether a trend change is likely or less likely. Best case for the bulls, set up that 4-hour trend change into tomorrow. Then we zoom out, scout the daily lower high, and it's then up to the bulls to create the space for a daily trend change to try and take place. Silver broke resistance and has changed the 4-hour trend. So that's a notable difference. We zoom out. Anything under 28.33 is just a daily lower high. Forget the short squeeze narrative, silver squeeze, whatever, because the silver squeeze narrative started here, marking a top, and then I started hearing about it again a week and a half ago, and so far it has done absolutely nothing to indicate any bullish action. Treat the chart on its own, forget narratives. Miners, gap up open, so bounce underway. Have to see the metals change 4-hour trends. Have to change the daily trend on the miners. I would call anything under 50.65 just a daily lower high. Oil. Daily consolidation underway. Anything above 59.24, just a daily high or low. Again, retracement size. Learning to trade, I never did retracement. I never looked at these percentages, but I can tell that that is what my brain is doing when I'm looking at charts. So as far as explaining it to other people, this is the easiest way to do so. We've already retraced 50%. So any further pullback, we then are going to be watching for a potential daily lower high compared to the top at 67.98. But as long as the daily higher lows are intact, obviously the oil bulls keep their control. And that's been the case for a very long time. 6-8 weeks plus. Natural gas, still weak. Trying to find a temporary bottom. Little daily inside bar today, essentially. And next time we bounce, anything under 2965, just a lower high. Bears have had complete control for a couple weeks, but we are scouting a weekly high or low, anything above 2427. So worth keeping an eye on. And the Bitcoin bulls getting their follow through. We already looked at that. So that is where we stand. Daily lower highs on watch. Higher open or lower open is going to completely dictate what I'm looking for tomorrow, which is why I don't even plan a trade today, because I know 6 a.m. things could be completely different and I could be looking in the complete opposite direction. So I set the game plans at 6 a.m., but we know bigger picture sometime in the next couple days. We're scouting daily lower highs, and then into the end of the week and the start of next week, we're then watching for daily higher low attempts. Where patient bulls will be looking for their entries. You look at the NIO monthly chart, EMA 12 support. Is this our monthly higher low being set? Maybe. Certainly have to change the daily trend as step number one to have confidence in it. But an aggressive bull, I should say the second tier of aggressive bull. Aggressive bulls were entering into daily oversold conditions. Second tier of aggressive bulls will be entering daily higher lows, anticipating daily trend changes. One day at a time. Every hour, we're getting significant information as far as shifting probabilities, as far as the most likely scenario is concerned. Don't forget to go to the YouTube page, click those videos, even if you don't watch them. It helps. We appreciate it. Help a stranger out to see that stuff rather than coming across some of the other content out there that may be harmful. And then do good things. That'll be one good thing. You can do more. See you tomorrow. I had Jungle Funk from the chat room build me a duck dock. So far the ducks and geese are enjoying it. Got some sleeping ducks. Pretty much they want to be somewhere on land where they can stand, but as close to the water as possible so they can escape predators. And the duck dock fits the bill. Pun intended. The first sign of tree buds. Not sure what kind of tree it is. They're reddish buds. Maybe some kind of maple. These flower beds are new to this year. We planted probably a couple hundred bulbs. Excited to see them come up over the next month. Focusing more on flowers this year, still going to do vegetables, so in this bed I planted peas all along the edge, and they'll trellis that up and have them climb up some chicken wire, and then in the rest of the bed I did a bunch of flowers. So pretty much just looking to mix flowers and food in most of the beds. That's from last year, and just starting this year.